Lights are flashing.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 2026 of Mo WIFF, Season 6 of Mo WIFF Missouri Wiffle Ball here in St. Louis, Missouri. My name is Sam Skivvy, your draft host again for the 5th straight year for this inaugural event. Every year we have a fantastic draft class, it seems like, and this year is no different. I feel like every single year it seems like our draft classes keep getting better and better. Last year, of course, we had the big three. We had Josh Wheeler, Brody Livingston, and James Klein being drafted in the top 3 of last year's draft, and it's going to be interesting to see who gets the top pick, with some great big names on here, with some names that are local, and with some names we've never heard of, but we're excited to see them play on the field here at Mo WIFF. Some exciting changes for Mo WIFF, but we are going to always get started with our commissioner, Cam Smith, who has some opening announcements before we get started for the draft.
Let's go, baby. Love that Josh Rogers is still here. Thank you guys all for tuning in, whether it's on the video, being here in person, or watching back later. Welcome to Season 6. Thank you to Buffalo Wild Wings for letting us host our draft here again for the 2nd straight year. It's a perfect venue for us. We get to sit here, eat some food, drink some beer, and have a good time. This year is a big year. Season 6, a lot of changes coming, so stay tuned in the next couple weeks. You're going to see a lot of new things coming out here from Mo WIFF. New location, a couple rule changes, so big things planned here for Season 6, but we are very excited. And this is our kickoff to Season 6. And without further ado, the Archers are on the clock.
That's right, the Archers are on the clock. Let's go through the draft order for round 1 before we get started. And it's kind of a 3-team party here in the first round, with the Archers, Melonheads, and Kings all with multiple picks. The Purge will be in there as well at the 8 slot, but for the first 9 picks in the first round, it's basically 3 teams picking between all of them. Most notably, the Kings with 4 picks as they continue their rebuild this year. Let's touch on a couple different teams. The Kings and the Archers, they both are going to have new managers heading into Season 6. We have Jake Keller, who you will see come up for the Kings, and Josh Richardson, the new Archers manager as well. We're going to break down each team as they come up beforehand while we're still waiting for the Archers to come up. First up is the Archers. In 2026, they have 3 picks. Will they need them all? Who knows? They last season finished at 10-7 in the regular season, 2nd place in the American League, and obviously almost making it to that championship game. It looks like the pick is in, as we have a special treat here. Rory Rank and Josh Richardson up to the podium to get us started for the first pick in the 2026 Mo WIFF draft.
So guys, my name is Rory Rank, former Archers captain, manager of the year 2025 for Mo WIFF. I'm here to introduce. Thank you. I want to introduce you the newest Archers captain, Josh Richardson, who will be making our first overall pick for the 2026 year.
For the first pick of the 2026 draft, the Archers will select the Tommy Hernandez.
Is a household name in Wiffle Ball right now. It's going to be exciting to see him on the field here at Mo WIFF. He is an out-of-town player, so will we see him enough to make an impact? But he's one of those players that can make an impact immediately in any amount of games that he plays in. The Archers are adding to their roster. Let's pull them up one more time. Not only have Josh Richardson, Rory Rank, and Tony Cochran, kind of the core of that team. You also have Sam Eichelon joining in, a great bat for them and a backup arm. And then their two top arms, James Klein and Drew Maurer, the young Drew Maurer, young James Klein, one of the best young duos on any team on the mound for the Archers. And then you add to it Tommy Hernandez, who absolutely can throw for this team if needed to. Let's turn it back over. The next pick is in, as we have Mr. Jason Worstenholm of the Melonheads for pick 2 of the 2026 Mo WIFF draft.
With the second pick of the draft, the Melonheads are going to select Landon Waddell.
Landon Waddell, there looks to be no video. The video's not playing for Landon Waddell, but we'll try to pull that up for you. Landon Waddell played fast pitch with Drew Maurer. And if you want more details, you can definitely go to his Instagram. We're going to be seeing how much Drew Maurer made an immediate impact for his team, for the Archers. So now Landon Waddell will add young player at just 14 years old. Landon Waddell will join this team. Jason Worstenholm, Michael Dobb, Bryson Livingston, Drew Ballman, and Tony Saggio as the Melonheads look to get back to the finals after this rebuild. They were the last place team in the league this past year. Since they were 9-9, but that's not right. I believe they were 3-14 this past year on there. Those two need to be flipped. 3-14 last year are the Melonheads. But let's go back to it on the clock. We have, for our draft order, we have the Kings now coming up. And the Kings are going to have 4 picks in this first round. And it looks like the pick is in. Let me pull this up for you with new captain Jake Keller along with Dustin Hitchcock at the podium.
All right, with the 2026 third overall pick in the Mo WIFF draft, Kings are happy to select Evan Stark.
Evan Stark in attendance here. Evan Stark played in the Wiffle Ball League the past 4 years and has always done whatever he can to contribute. Also a champion at the NWA End of Summer Classic. Evan Stark joining. Evan, stay up there since you're here. Evan, stay up. Let's chat with Evan a little bit here as we go along. Evan, you are here in attendance, so talk to us a little bit. How does it feel to be selected to the Kings, and what do you feel like you can bring to this franchise that desperately needs somebody to step in and get going on the right track?
I feel like I can bring lots of young, very, very raw talent. Hopefully I can develop it in the league and just get better.
Absolutely. Evan Stark, congratulations! Number 3 overall pick. Let's play his highlight reel and get to see more of Evan Stark on the video that we're going to see here. Evan Stark has played in many different leagues and also attended the spring training that we all hope to definitely get all back to the in attendance today. You know he's going to be committed to this Kings roster. The Kings needed somebody that would be committed to the game for them. And Evan Stark is their guy. So taking a look at the Kings roster so far, Jake Keller, Nick Bone, Dustin Hitchcock, James Dodd re-signed as well, and now Evan Stark joining this team. A great first pick, and one that I thought was going to be in the top 3 for sure of this draft. Jake Keller gets a good one in his first pick as a captain. Nice pick there from Evan Stark. Our next one on the clock is we're back at the Melonheads, actually. Melonheads with the 2nd and the 4th pick. They went very young with Landon Waddell last time, and we're going to see where they head to this one. Jason Worstenholm is back on the podium for their 2nd pick.
With the 4th pick of the 2026 draft, the Melonheads are taking Gavin Osborne.
Gavin Osborne coming up here for 2 years in NWA and 5 years in Excel Wiffle Ball League. Definitely throw it as a utility. Melonheads are in need of a pitcher. This is something that they have to throw strikes. Experience in adding to their roster. We'll kind of break down their roster a little bit so you can see see. Tony Saggio coming back. We know he can pitch pretty well. Jason Worstenholm, you know he's going to take them out for his team. Bryson Livingston was a big bright spot for them on this roster. And now you add in player like Gavin Osborne, who is able to give them some innings, eat some innings, and see if they have a diamond in the rough that will get them out of that 3-14 hole this year. Let's head back to the podium where we have the pick in for the Kings and Jake Keller.
With the 5th overall pick, the Kings are going to select Sammy Huber.
Sammy Huber, knew this one was coming sooner rather than later. Sammy Huber's played in NWA Wiffleball for 4 seasons, also played in the league. Ran by Archers, played with Drew Maurer, and now we'll be joining the Kings. And I tell you what, I feel like this combo of Evan Stark and Sammy Huber is a great direction for the Kings. Champion of the this past year, played with guys like Justin Hall and Brody Livingston on the NWA roster. So we are excited to see we have Sammy Huber in the league, and the Huber family pretty well known in the St. Louis area and around the country for going to MLW tournaments and things like that too. Sammy Huber, best hitter of the bunch for the Huber family. So excited to see the Kings with 2 players that can instantly make an impact for their squad. If we go back to the Kings roster, obviously you have James Dobb and Dustin Hitchcock, Nick Bowen, Jake Keller. We all know those guys can hit. So now we have Evan Stark and Sammy Huber. There's so many options that we can go here for Jake Keller's Kings roster. Exciting to see, and we actually, if you can see, you can't see it, folks, but there is a trade possibly happening. I know you just see kind of people's faces in there, and I'll kind of try to sneak in here and give you an inside look. But it seems like there's going to be a trade that has happened. Right now, as it sits, the Kings take that pick. So the Archers are in this spot. I doubt the Archers need this pick. So the Archers are giving a trade to somebody here. We have Tommy Hernandez off the board. You have Landon Waddell off the board. Evan Stark comes off the board as well. Gavin Osborne and Sammy Huber. We all know those are coming in. The Archers, Kings, Purging Kings are left in this draft round. But as we are awaiting the details of a possible trade, will the Archers be skipping their pick, or is somebody trying to step up? Who is trying to get into that 6th hole? And there's a lot of players left. There's a lot of huge names still left on this list. You have an Andrew Leday still available. You have a Caleb Jeter, Charlie Bennett, who has experience in this league as well. And you have Chandler Rice. You know, that's not only the first name of Chandler Melton, but the last name of Caden Rice. So what a combination that would be as a person. And then you have a lot of other players, Moses, that showed up at the spring training event. Lyric Dundee is another player that has played in a lot of different leagues here in St. Louis. A lot of good friends with the CI prospects. Will we see the 16-year-old picked as well? A lot of great names. Andrew Esparza from Slater Wiffle Ball League. Slater Wiffle Ball is a Missouri Wiffle Ball League as well. Not as well known as maybe the kind of people would say the big 3 in Missouri, but Slater Wiffle Ball definitely make a name for themselves on Instagram as well. Thumbs up. It has been approved, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to head to Cam. We're going to head to the podium for the announcement of the trade. And here is Commissioner Cam Smith to announce a possible trade that has been broken down.
This is gonna be tough.
All right.
3-team trade here between.
3-team trade.
Between the Mambas, the Archers, and the Purge. So the Mambas are going to move here to the 6th pick. The Archers are going to move to the 8th pick, which is technically the Purge's pick right now. The Purge will get the Mambas 27 or 28 2nd round pick. The Archers will get the Mambas 27 1st round pick. So technically right now, the Mambas are on the clock, and the Archers go to 8. That's all you need to know for now. We'll put on an official graphic later. But for now, the Mambas are on the clock.
Wow, indeed. So let's kind of break down that roster again if you did, or break down the trade again if you didn't hear. The Mambas are now on the clock with the 6th pick, the Archers will move down to the 8th pick, and they get a 2027 draft pick, and the Purge also getting a 2027 draft pick as well, getting rid of their 8th spot in this first round. So the Purge, obviously, I'm almost positive the Purge roster might be full, and that's why they maybe did this. So being able to get a 2027 pick for their team, they obviously made the signing of Johnny Paul Gunn, so they don't really need to add that next draft pick too. So very exciting to see, but it looks like now the pick is in, and we have Captain Cole Layton coming up to the podium to make the pick for the Mambas in the 6th spot for the squad.
In the 2026 first round draft pick for the Mambas, we are selecting Andrew Ledet.
And Andrew Ledet, we'll show you some video on Andrew here. Andrew Ledet, obviously, lefty swinging right, Tommy Hernandez. Both these guys can't hit. I mean, they might be two of the best left-handed hitters right now. Tommy Hernandez, who knows how much Andrew they can get before the Mambas continues their hitting prowess for a squad and continues to add to their team chemistry. As Andrew Ledet, even if he shows up for 2 weeks, is going to be a huge addition for this Mambas team and can make an impact. Really good at any style that you might have. So let's continue on. The Kings are now on the clock. The pick is in as Jake Keller comes back, captain of the Kings for pick number 3 for them this round and pick 7 of the round.
So with the 3rd pick in the first round draft, Kings are going to go with Alexander Esparza.
Alex Esparza, we said the name, and Alex Esparza, part of the Slater Wiffle Ball League. He's been playing for 2 years, and that's
In there.
coming on. It might not be
Riser got on the.
Already retooling and reloading for their roster, which is exactly what this team needed to do. They're adding to their core, and they're adding 3 young players that they know can bring them some success in 2026. So let's head to our draft order again here. The Kings made pick 7. Now pick 8 is a little bit different. We're not at the Purge anymore. The Purge traded that pick away. The Archers will be back on the clock. Archers roster is pretty much almost full. So they're talking it over with the commissioner right now, and Rory, the ex-captain, and Josh Richardson, the new captain, are starting to decide, okay, are we making a pick here? If we do we want to add somebody in there? Alex Esparza, welcome to the league, adding to the Kings. The Kings will actually close out this round. They had 4 players. Do they draft all 4 in this first round and take a chance on somebody to hit, somebody to make that immediate impact for their team? It's going to be exciting to see. I tell you what, folks, while we're waiting on this one, let's head to our Kings roster that we had. Jake Keller, Nick Bone, Dustin Hitchcock, James Dobb. This team finished 9-9 last year, 4th place in the American League, almost making the playoffs. They had some chances. They add Alex Esparza, they add Sammy Huber, they add Evan Stark. Some pitching in there, but mainly going to add for that hitting style too. This team's roster, the Kings roster, they're going to try to find who can pitch for this team. They know Nick Bone's going to be there. They know he's going to be kind of that ace. He's going to have to hold it down for the Kings. But can they find another pitcher that can step up for their team? They've had, Justin Holland. They've had the Josh Wheelers of the world in the past. They had Jordan Smith at one point. So now they need to find that next diamond in the rough. And it looks like the pick is in for the Archers. We'll see what they're going to make their selection here as Josh Richardson comes back to the podium.
With the 8th pick of the 2026 draft, the Archers select Caleb Jeter.
Caleb Jeter. The Archers just continue to add here. I mean, this is turning into an all-star team just on their own here. As this roster is completely stacked. Caleb Jeter, Caleb Jeter shows up 1 week for this team and pitches 2 wins. That's like the 2 wins right there for the Archers. And then you have to fall back on going to compete against James Klein and Drew Maurer and Tony Cochran on the mound too. I mean, this team just is loaded top to bottom. If we pull up their current roster with Josh Richardson, Roy Rink, Tony Cochran, St. Mike and Lob, and those flamethrowers, James Klein and Drew Maurer, but then you add in Tommy Hernandez and Caleb Jeter, it doesn't even matter that they're part-time players. They can take that risk because they have these 6 full-time players that will be there in full. So even if they have Tommy and Caleb show up just a couple times, in my humble opinion, this is the team to beat going into the year. Yes, you can say, hey, the Thunderbirds, they won it last year, but I mean, as the Archers add to this roster, I don't see a lot of teams beating the Archers this year. I don't think, even if you have Tommy and Caleb show up for a couple games each, this roster honestly is the first one that I've seen on paper that could actually pursue a 17-0 season. And wouldn't that be wild to see? But there's hitting top to bottom, there's pitching top to bottom. I mean, anybody on this roster, if you pull up that roster again, literally every single person on this roster can hit, and every single person on this roster can pitch. No other roster can say that. And not just hit and pitch, but hit and pitch at a high effective level. So that roster for the Archers is absolutely insane. That brings us to the final pick of the round for the Kings. You see me looking down at the iPad as I continue to work on switching, going back and forth between these. Let me pull up that roster again. They finished 10-7, second place in the American League, only behind the Mojo last year. And the Mojo have kind of reigned terror at the top of that American League division for so many years now. And the Archers are like, enough is enough. Time to take down the Mojo, time to get that division win, time to get that bye. They haven't had the bye yet for that round. But now we come back and the pick is in, folks. Pick is in for round 1 finale. And could this be the last pick, obviously, for Jake Keller and the Kings for their roster getting full? Here we go.
Last pick of the round here in the first round of the Mo Wiff draft. Kings are going to select Lyric Dundee.
Lyric Dundee. We knew this one was probably coming as well. Whoops, sorry about that. Lyric Dundee definitely is more well known than the CI prospect round.
I'm knocked out. There we go.
He kind of led that CI Prospects team, made them successful. So the Kings continue to add, and I tell you what, the Kings retooling this way, I feel like they almost have one of the better hitting teams in the league. I mean, I feel like everybody on their team can hit. It's going to be interesting to see who they decide to hit, how many players they decide to hit on their roster, because any of these guys can't hit. The question's going to be the pitching. Question's going to come down to the pitching for the Kings. The Kings roster is done. They have 2 picks in the second round. They can choose to trade for those. They can choose to just skip and drop, but their roster is done. They used all 4 of their picks in the first round. Let me bring up their roster again for you so you can see Jake Keller, Nick Bone, Dustin Hitchcock, James Dobb. 4 fantastic hitters. You have some pitching depth that you could include in there. Dustin has pitched before. Jake Keller is improving as a pitcher. Nick Bone is going to be probably their ace. And then you add Evan Stark, can do both. Sammy Huber can do both for them. Alex Esparza, you're hoping can do both for them. And then you have Lyric Dundee, who has that experience. All 4 players that they have chosen have the football experience and can help this team get out of the basement of the American League and get them some wins. So, Kings, very exciting for them. Let's take a look now at the second round draft order, leading off with the Melonheads, followed by the Kings. Who knows what that'll happen with that pick, whether it's a skip or a trade, as their roster is full. They could also trade players. Wouldn't that be interesting if all of a sudden we trade a player for a draft pick too later on? Then you got Bombers making their first selection. Then back to the Archers, we'll see, and then Kings, we'll see again. Purge and Thunderbirds at the end. Most notably, you'll notice there's Mojo obviously not on this list as well. We're going to get to kind of those team breakdowns after we get through this. But it looks like the next pick is in, as we will head back to the podium. And the pick is in for the Melonheads and Jason Worstenholm.
With the first pick of the second round, the Melonheads are taking Levi Wadle.
Weedle. Who knows what it is, but it's apparently he knows it's Weedle. And this one, oh, Levi, I'm so sorry. This video is not showing up for you as well. But instead, we will pull up the Melonheads roster as we go on. Melonheads picking Landon Weedle, and then they also have Levi. So Landon and Levi, 18 and 14 years old. I assume there is a relation here, adding to the family aspect that I think Jason Worstall was pushing for. Jason Worstall, Michael Dodd, Bryson Livingston, Drew Ballman, Tony Saggio, the Weedle brothers or cousins, or maybe just coincidence they have the same last name, and then also Gavin Osborne. This completes the Melonheads roster, so this will be it for the Melonheads. As the Melonheads look to get out of the basement, yes, but this is still an unproven roster. They're going to rely heavily on Bryson Livingston. If Jason's arm can hold up, they're going to rely heavily on him on the mound as well. They need to get out of the basement for this squad. 3 and 14 is not going to cut it from their perspective. They want more wins. They want to get into a position where they can attract more free agents later on. They've lost some players, the Ryan O'Rears of the world, Jordan Smithler, Sam Aikema. They've lost some of these players to other teams that have gone elsewhere. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Melonheads can retool, go young, and Jason Worstall is doing a great job at putting a roster together that he thinks will be able to compete now and in the future. All right, that brings us to an interesting perspective here. What's going to happen with the Kings as they're looking around at a possible trade? There are talks going on. I'll show you the crowd, everyone. We kind of get some view of everyone that's here at Buffalo Wild Wings hosting for the second-year draft. Last year we had a lot more draftees in attendance, but it seems like there's a few players, out of town. There's a lot of Excel players here. That's from Illinois. CI Prospects, that's an Illinois-based league. Slater's in a different part of Missouri. You also have some players that are out of state. Angela Day, Caleb Jeter, Tommy Hernandez already chosen. So a lot of players that are across the state of Missouri, over the river in Illinois, and they're obviously in different states around, so maybe not as much of people showing up in person, but you have a lot of players and every team is represented here today. As we see Captain Jake Keller kind of mosey on back, as I don't know if time limit's going to be hit or what's going to happen. No one wants to trade. It seems like I'm reading lips pretty well right now, as you can see. I wish I could move that camera, but you can see as Jake Keller makes eyes with me, and that'll do it. We're going to skip the pick. Do you want to say that?
We're full.
We'll come to the pick is not in, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, it is an empty podium. They are full. The Kings have elected not to pick in the 11th one, and the Mambas will be on the clock. So Mambas are now on the clock. Let's go back and take a look at the Mambas roster. Mambas so far, Cole Layton, obviously the longtime captain of the Mambas. Chandler Melton and Caden Rice made a huge impact for this team, and their buddy Falcon Pearson as well. And Alex Eggert reassigned to the roster as well. So Cole Layton and Alex Eggert, the old timers that will always be around for that Mambas roster. Mambas jumped up to that 6th pick to get the guy they wanted in Andrew Leday, adding in another player that can pitch and hit for them when he shows up. Well, let's see as the pick comes in for Mr. Cole Layton. The pick is in. Here we go. Cole Layton for the Mambas.
Second round draft pick for the Mambas, we're selecting Chandler Rice.
Chandler Rice, you kind of figured this was coming. We hear a shocker in the background. Not only does it share the first name with Chandler Melton, but the last name with Chandler Rice. So you gotta believe there's some connection there. CI Prospect tournament, give them that tournament as well. Played in the with last year, so Chandler Rice is definitely a player that you expected to be a part of that. Lyric Dundee was also another one that you thought maybe would be selected by the Mambas, but Lyric getting drafted by the Kings ahead of them. So Lyric Dundee, I am almost positive, would have been a Mamba had it not been there. But keep it in the family. Chandler Rice, you are now on the Mambas. So the Mambas are doing a great job at kind of keeping those CI prospects happy and all together. The Bombers are on the clock now. You had to believe that they were wanting to go for that Caleb Jeter pick. To add to that East Coast with Ethan Weiner. When they go back to the roster, I believe that this puts the Mambas at now 7 players with Falcon Pearson, Alex Eggert, Caden Rice, Chandler Melton, and Cole Layton. And then you have Chandler Rice joining them, and we have Andrew Leday. Walker Bunch is the one that's missing from the roster from last year so far. Will that spot be open, for a possible signing, or will it be left at just 7 for a roster? 6 technically, only because You have Andrew Leday as a part-time player for this league. But then you have, Chandler Melton, Caden Rice, Falcon Pearson, and Chandler Rice. That's so weird to say Chandler Melton, Caden Rice, and Chandler Rice. But you have all these players, these CR prospects, that will have to make it together. They're going to have to come to fill this roster. You don't have right now on the roster, you don't have a Parker Bunch to fill that void. And Cole Lane's going to have to make sure that their schedule dictates that they can have all of those players there. Oh, look who's coming back to the podium as the pick seems to be in, as taking off his commissioner hat and putting on his Bombers captain hat. Here is Cam Smith for the Bombers.
The Bombers are going to forego this pick, but I do want to announce that we are going to re-sign Ben Doolin to a 1-year deal.
Oh, wow.
Our roster is now full, but we are signing Ben Doolin back for season 6.
Well, there it is. You heard it here. We don't have a video on Ben Doolin, but making the signing, I guess, to re-sign Ben Doolin is the pick. They're foregoing the pick. Ben Doolin, I guess you could be re-selected again, but Caleb Jeter's buddy Ben Doolin on the New School Risers together. So Caleb Jeter and Ben Doolin both getting semi-quote-unquote selected in this draft. Ben Doolin re-signing, congratulations. Ben Doolin showed up and hit a buzzsaw of a team when he came and showed up facing off against Brody Livingston and the Thunderbirds. Ben Doolin leading both of those games for the Bombers, and he wants some revenge coming back. Wouldn't it be just poetic to have Ben Doolin come back and face off against Brody Livingston and the Thunderbirds again? Let's go to the Bombers roster here, as I'll pull them up. And you'll see Cam Smith, Jake Walnut, Ethan Weiner, Josh Wheeler, and Alex Barrett returning, and then the new signings of Justin Hall and Andrew Nichols, and then obviously signing Ben Doolin. This team is also reloaded and retooled. They went 7-10 last year. They made the playoffs, limped into the playoffs, and didn't make it past the first round, but you know that with this roster, they're retooled and reloaded. Andrew Nichols adds them another constant back that they can rely upon. With Cam Smith, Jake Walnut, Ethan Weiner, Josh Wheeler has proven that he's getting better and better with every passing moment in this sport. Justin Hall, one of those players that continues to get better as well. Kind of a journeyman nowadays, Justin Hall, but joining the Bombers where he started part of his career, now back again with the Bombers as well, and Captain Cam Smith, obviously buddies with Josh Wheeler too. So this team is loaded with pitching. Having Ben Doolin there just for a couple times is going to be a huge get for them, even if it can, just to give their pitchers a break for those. We'll show the crowd again as the Archers are on the clock, and they will pass their pick. Kings will most likely pass their pick. Kings are on the clock now. It looks like they're passing as well. No trades seem to be happening, which means the Purge are on the clock. I yelled Purge really loud so Tom Wilkerson could hear me. Well, yeah, let's see Tom. There comes Tom, so why not? Tom wants to actually come up, talk to the crowd, Tom. Tom Wilkerson, what do you have to say?
So the Purge are going to forego their pick. We have a full roster for 2026.
They do have a full roster. Let me pull it up for you. Tom Wilkerson, captain. His son, Colin Wilkerson, and of course, buddy Caleb Schweigert, Pat Ballman, Greg Thornton, John Satrowski, Zach Gunn, and the newly signed Johnny Gunn as a free agent. Signed last year, joining that family mentality. The Wilkersons, the Guns. Ballman, a lot of people, a lot of Ballmans out there, but the Ballmans are on different teams too. Caleb Schweigert, almost a part of the Wilkerson family at this point. Greg Thornton and John Satrowski coming back for this team. First place in the National League. Could not get it done in the semifinal round. We're very, very close. But this team is looking to make a splash again, especially with the addition of Johnny Gunn. Johnny Gunn's going to be a great, not only addition out there in the field as a pitcher, but also going to add some hitting depth for this team that continues to get better hitting every single year. A lot of options for Captain Tom Wilkerson, who you just saw for the Purge. We only have one more pick left, everybody, and that is the draft order is coming up on you for the second round. It's Thunderbirds. Thunderbirds are the only team remaining. I assume more teams could pick if they wanted to, if they have a roster spot open. Someone like the Mambas comes to mind if we went to a third round. If there's a possibility of more players getting drafted, I can kind of go through those rosters and see who's full with you after the Thunderbirds kind of make a choice or an option. Going their pick. So far we've had 12 players that have been, 11 players, excuse me, that have been selected. Oh, as here comes, excuse me, here comes the podium. Let me get off of this roster so you can see. And the pick is in, ladies and gentlemen, as, a treat. We have a double Thunderbird action here. Brian Hunter and his number 2 pick last year, Brody Livingston.
With a last pick of the second round, the Mo WIFF Thunderbirds take Jackson Niehaus.
Jackson Niehaus. Oh, and he's in attendance. Let's get him coming up there. There he comes. Jackson Niehaus played with Junior 5 years, takes part in the Excel Wiffle Ball League in Hamilton, been to Midwest Sugfest, and has hosted MLW with an Excel team. Let's talk to Jackson since he's here with his team, getting a picture as well. Jackson, congratulations joining the champion Thunderbirds. Got to feel good to already being, already established roster, obviously. But what are you hoping to add to this roster that's already loaded? What do you have to say about wiffle ball in general? Excited to be here.
I mean, wiffle has been a very important part of my life ever since I was a child. But being with this insanely stacked team, I'm just trying to bring more fun to this league and get us another championship.
Absolutely. Well, welcome to the league, Jackson Niehaus. Thanks for being here today. Obviously, it's a little bit easy joining a championship team, right? And for Jackson Niehaus, he's in attendance today, showing that commitment. So Thunderbird's picking him up, and who knows how much playing time Jackson might get, but to be able to learn under players like Brody Livingston and Spencer Foss, Dom Satrowski, who have this experience. Let's bring up that Thunderbirds roster. We haven't seen it in full yet. Brian Hunter as the captain, Brody Livingston, Spencer, and Dom we just talked about, Mark Vogler, and then the big free agent signing of Ryan O'Rear. Ryan really didn't show up last year for the team, the Melonheads, but this year hoping to make it out a little bit more. Local right now, his travel his work takes him to different places around the country sometimes, but excited that Ryan can maybe be here in Missouri a little bit more this year, and that is great news for Brian Hunter, adding Jackson Niehaus to their roster for the final pick in this second round. There's now the third round, folks. We're going to see if there's any picks that do need to be made. We have only, I believe, one other team that we haven't seen yet, so I'm going to pull up their roster, and that is the Mojo. You'll see them pulled up, Captain Doug Meyer, the Skibby brothers, Gus and Sam, the Spencer brothers, Blake and Brett, and then you have Quentin Meyer, Jackson Crosley, Cameron Jaso, and Jordan Smith. Obviously, first place. They have no picks in this draft. There's a full roster. One of the Purge and the Mojo had full rosters before this started, so you knew they weren't going to probably make any picks. The Mojo actually didn't even have any picks. Traded them all last season to acquire Jordan Smith. Jordan Smith, Jackson Crosley, Sam Skibby, and Gus Skibby, obviously part of that Mojo UWIF team the past couple of years. So it's going to be exciting to see this team play out as a full season together. Will they continue that first place, or will the Archers finally dethrone the Mojo as they continue to stack their roster all together? Look at that history, 60-26 for the Mojo. Let's take a look around the league, everybody, as we wait to see if there's any picks for the third round. The Archers, a history of 40-28. They had some picks this round. They had 6 players already and 6 stacked players. They could have left it at this team and been completely fine, but no. They go out and they add Tommy Hernandez with the number 1 overall pick, and they add Caleb Jeter for a player that might come in from the East Coast a couple times and make that, incredible. It can have a break for James Klein and Drew Maurer, Tony Cochran on the mound when you can have a Caleb Jeter or Tommy Hernandez jump in. It'll be interesting to see how newly appointed captain Josh Richardson will use this roster, will give people a chance to hit and pitch. It's going to be interesting to see how they play that out, and could be an early favorite for Manager of the Year if he plays all of his cards right. Moving on to the Melonheads roster here in the National League, last place last year. Jason Worstall, Michael Dobb, Bryson Livingston, Drew Ballman, and Tony Saggio, obviously adding the Waddell, the Weedles, Landon, and Levi. And then the Melonheads also adding Gavin Osborne, going very young with an 18, a 17, and a 14-year-old added to the league. And we'll keep it going. And then the Kings. The Kings roster. Let's go on through all the roster. Kings roster, Jake Keller, Nick Bone, Dustin Hitchcock, James Dobb, and of course they added everybody in the first round that they could. Evan Stark, Sammy Huber, Alex Esparza, and Lyric Dundee. Honestly, for my thoughts, I think that the Kings actually earned an A in this draft. I think that they earned an A from me. If you kind of break down the rosters and who made the great picks, I think they used their picks really well. I think they used them with some experience mixed from pitching and hitting. All right, and we're back. Sorry about that. Somebody was calling the iPad. I had to get rid of that, so audio will come back, and we'll keep on. Oh, but it looks like this might be it, folks. We'll kind of break down the rosters, and we'll finish up later on, but head back to the podium for Commissioner Cam Smith for the announcement of the end of the draft.
All right, thank you guys again. It's kind of loud. Sorry, we're partying here at Buffalo Wild Wings. But thank you all for tuning in to our Season 6 draft. A deep draft. We weren't sure what was going to happen, but a lot of picks here today. We are very excited to get the season going. Our season normally starts late March, early April. This year, with our new changes, we will not be starting until May. So stay tuned for more announcements, and we will see you all here for Season 6. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, everyone. And let's go play some Wiffle Ball, baby. Let's go.
And there you have it, Commissioner Cam Smith closing us out today for the Mo Wiff draft. We'll kind of go through the picks that happened so far. We'll go bring the draft order back up. Tommy Hernandez with the first pick for the Archers. Congratulations, adding to the lore that is the #1 picks for this league. And joining, even Rory Rank, who is a former #1 pick as well for the Archers too. Melonheads, you have Landon Waddell joining for the #2 pick, 14-year-old coming in at #2. Kings first draft pick is Evan Stark, a huge one, knew was going to be in the top 3 as well. Melonheads go back and get Gavin Osborne. Kings follow that up with a top 5 pick of Sammy Huber. Fantastic player in his own right, going to be a great addition to the Kings roster. And then the Mambas with a big trade later on, bringing up to get Andrew Leday. I feel like that was an important pick for them to add a part-time player to their roster that they can bring out and make an immediate impact in those games that Andrew plays. The Kings then come back with Alex Esparza from the Slater Wiffleball League, finally making the crossover from Slater. And then the Archers bring Caleb Jeter back in, so the Archers almost getting an A+ for their roster as well. And then the Kings with Lyric Dundee in the first round. In the second round, we had 3 picks, Levi Waddell for the Melonheads, Chandler Rice for the Mambas, and Jackson Niehaus for the Thunderbirds. Ben Doolin also making the announcement for the Bombers to re-sign. Let's pick back up where we left off with some of these rosters, folks. And the Kings obviously getting an A for me. The Purge, their roster stays the same. Free agent signing of Johnny Gunn. No draft picks, can't really grade them out. The Mambas, they have their 5 that they've had, but then they're going to be adding the Andrew Leday and the Chandler Rice, kind of keeping it in the CI prospect family and also adding another one. Got to be a B+ or an A- for me here, as already an established roster, but adding in somebody like Andrew Leday, if he can make it, it's going to be a good spot for the Mambas as they improve upon their 3rd place in the American League. The Bombers, obviously making no picks, but I think their offseason spoke for itself. Cam Smith going out and adding Justin Hall and Andrew Nichols, and then re-signing Ben Doolin and Josh Wheeler getting back as well. So this is a team you're going to have to watch out for. In my opinion, they will improve on their 3rd place finish. Cam Smith pitching better than he's been in a couple years, and then Justin Hall, Josh Wheeler adding that pitching depth. Andrew Nichols can obviously pitch it from the left side, and then you add Ben Doolin, who can hopefully make it in for them too. You have the Thunderbirds, the reigning champs. They didn't need to add anybody, obviously, but instead go out and get free agent Ryan O'Rear. And then on top of that, add rookie Jackson Niehaus. Jackson Niehaus in a great position to just kind of, honestly, idly sit by and wait his spots. You have a roster that's established. Maybe you'll get some time in, but it's nice to just learn from some of these great players that have won a championship. And, of course, the mojo rounds us out for all of these teams. You kind of got to respect 2 teams that I'm going to call out that I think deserve an A in this draft so far. Have got to be the Kings, have got to be the Archers. They use their picks well. Melonheads get a B from me as a pick because they're just unknown. It's an unknown group of rookies that they're bringing in, but they're going to have to be better than a B for them to get out of the basement of that tough national league that they're in. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for watching the 2026 Mo Wiff Draft. We will see you soon for Season 6. Can't believe it. We've already had 5 in the books. Not a lot of leagues make it past, especially Fast Pitch League, don't make it past Season 5. So we thank you for joining us. We thank you for sticking with us. We will see you on the field. A lot more announcements to come. A lot of exciting announcements and exciting changes for Mo Wiff heading into the new era of Season 6. Join us on YouTube. Join us on all of your social media outlets. We're live for Game 1 on opening day coming up in May. See you soon.